Hey everybody, welcome to the Deep Dive Show. My name is Mpho. Our goal with this show is to bring you and I in proximity to the people and ideas that will show us that it is possible and it can be done, and eventually help us achieve on our dreams and our goals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest. He's a writer, he's a speaker, he's a man that I've been watching from a distance and have been inspired by his story. He is the organization lead of Spectrum Analytics. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming Mr. Tebogo Mogaleemang.
Thank you, mate, for those kind words. And it's a pleasure to be here as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you for coming through. I'm very excited about the conversation we're about to have today. So, in fact, I want us to start. How would you define yourself as Tebogo Mogaleemang? I know you knew one of those was coming.
All right. That's a hard one, but it's also easy. If you recognize you are always growing, you kind of also see that you can never be a fixed thing for as long as you are breathing.
Most definitely.
Because you are a flux. You're not a fixed thing. If you take something that you want to improve and you work on, you become something else. So are you the same person when you have improved, or are you still the same person? So that's why maybe the defining part. But I'll say I'm someone who takes life too lightly, because I've seen that most of our challenges come from what we make life to be.
Self-imposed.
Yes, most of our limitations are beliefs we have picked. So I'm someone who likes to push the boundaries and even test my own assumptions. So I'm not loyal to my own beliefs.
Beautiful. That's deep. That's so deep on so many levels.
Yeah, but if I'm to just take the normal kind of way of defining oneself, I wear many different hats.
Most definitely.
When it comes to what I love to do, I'm an engineer by training. So I naturally love to solve problems. And loving to solve problems meant I'll get my hands dirty. I'll pick on that problem, or problems that I really care about, which tend to be problems that affect people at grassroots level. Because I realize that whenever we talk about things like tech, we kind of focus on the cool stuff. So it's but where's the human side of everything that we are doing? So if I'm to define myself, I think those kind of high level stuff define me. So with grassroots impact, it also means you develop an eye for identifying these problems and looking for ways that allow you to really solve them well. So I'm also an ecosystem builder from the entrepreneurship side of things. I've been quite active over the years. But I'm also an ecosystem builder in terms of building 21st century skills that we all love and care about: communication, problem solving, curiosity, what. So from that point of view, I've built ecosystems where we were sharing what we know and then teaching others on how to build data analytics skills, or what sort of skills, programming skills. So that's building an ecosystem. So that's another hat that I've been wearing as well. But like you also said, I love thinking like a child as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite parts actually about myself, because I'm kind of someone who has refused to grow and restrict myself around the inherited limitations we get from our conditioning, and conditioning meaning the environment we were born in, the environment we grew up in, the education system, because it's still part of our environment. So in a nutshell, I'm many things, but I'm not one. I can't be a single thing.
Yes,
but I'm also a fluid thing, because as soon as I've learned I kind of shift how I think about stuff. I kind of become a different person in a way.
Yeah. As long as you're learning, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
As long as you're learning, which is beautiful. I actually want to touch onto your childhood.
Yeah.
Who were you? How were you like? Were you a gamer? Were you always getting in trouble? Just kind of paint that picture out for us, because I think it speaks to a lot about who you are today and even the way you think.
So I've when I think about my childhood, let me share. I don't know whether most people really believe the story. So for me, I grew up in the most disadvantaged area in Gaps, for as much as I know. I grew up in Old Naledi. So I attended junior secondary school right here. But something was different with me. Everyone has always accused me of being intelligent from the moment I was young. So that kind of also meant...
I agree.
So that kind of meant I'll be having the highest grades amongst all my peers from primary school all the way down to university level. So I've kind of set it as a rare pedestal in terms of what I was observing about the society. And from early childhood, I could see these two conflicting ideas of how people would look at me when I told them where I stayed and what they expected of me. So he stays in Old Naledi. My teachers, even from primary school, would be like, oh no. So they would actually, because I was quite a comical child, I've always been a playful person.
Yeah.
So people would think I'm lying when I told them when I stayed, because my grades didn't fit the expectation of what grade you should get if you lived in Old Naledi. But I was just a regular kid. I've loved reading from a young age. I think that's what changed my perspective from a young age. I loved reading. My sister used to go to school, and then from school she would play school on me.
Wow.
So that's how I learned how to read early, and then I became obsessed with like reading. From a young age, I really loved reading because it opened a different kind of portal of possibilities to what my environment in Kasi was showing me.
Yeah.
So, but then at the same time, this environment from Kasi kind of, came with like certain expectations of what people make me to be. So from a young age, I've always been self-aware. I think that's one of the consistent things that I've had. But when you are younger, you don't know how to put that into words.
Yeah.
So I've excelled academic-wise from a young age, and it became something that I got to hate at a certain point as well, because people just started limiting me to just the ability to get right answers. But I've always been like, but I'm more than that. I'm a human being. I care about this. I care about that. But people were not investing time to get to know me as a person. So from a quite young age, from junior school, I went to senior school right next door to Bokamoso CGSS in Naledi.
Wow.
And then from Naledi, I then went to UB. And from UB, then I got a scholarship to go study engineering overseas. And just that transition from overachieving from the perspective of those who had an idea of, if you're from this area, this is who you should be, what. That has kind of pushed me from a young age to be sympathetic and empathetic towards those who are struggling. Because I kind of grew aware of poverty around me. It's something that is hard to ignore when you grow up in Kasi. But at the same time, somehow I could also be admired by everyone, all my teachers, my friends, parents. If you come top in any class, you become known. So I've always had that kind of burden to outperform everyone. Yeah. From a young age as well. So I think I had a pretty awesome childhood. I didn't know that if you didn't have certain things, you needed to feel bad until the society taught me that. I just thought if you had enough to eat, if you had friends to play with, you are sorted. But
Beautiful. Well put, Mr. Mogaleemang. We're going to pause here for a break and we'll be back with Tebogo Mogaleemang. You're watching this video. I'm guessing there's some amount of value that you're getting from this video. I'm here to tell you that we have more. We've created a Patreon account. This is a monthly subscription-based model where you'll be investing as little as $5 a month to be able to support our work. And in turn, you will have access to behind the scenes, exclusive content, live shows, and even information on future events. Your investment into us allows us to be able to create more and better content, to be able to push these stories off. It is possible and it can be done. So if that sounds interesting to you, head over to patreon.com/deep dive sessions and become a patron. See you on the inside. Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive Show. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you drop below and subscribe and like and comment below on what you guys are hearing. So we're here with Tebogo Mogaleemang. My brother, you talked about childhood, growing up, and all the how you're an overachiever and that. Now I'm very curious. Before I ask about spectrum analytics, before we dive into spectrum analytics, I'm curious to know, how were you able to, because a lot of people could be broken by coming from a place like Old Naledi. They could be broken. Even statistics show us that, people that are prone to be like this, that are prone to be like that. How were you able to come out and actually be able to build a life as you have today?
I think it's because I saw a different possibility from a young age. Before I was told or given a cap of what is variable, like what is possible, I already kind of accidentally discovered there's more to the world through books. So for me, books allowed me to kind of time travel. You'd laugh. I was that kid who would get a book. My sister would bring books from school, and I want to finish a book before she takes it with her in the morning.
Whoa.
And I could just read the whole.
Wow. That is intense. Yeah, that is intense. And
I think all human beings have the same potential. But I think it's just around when someone gets to show you there is more that you can be beyond what the conditions have dictated to you. Maybe because for me, the conditions never got to dictate first. I kind of thought it was all natural. Maybe up until I was a bit more mature and just started looking at other kids. I could tell that other kids didn't have that. Maybe one person, like maybe I would have one of like the early people who had great influence in my life was my maths teacher when I was from junior school, Mr. Powder. From Form 1, he put me in a maths and science team with the Form 2s. So that kind of also shows me, there's this. So I've always participated in maths and science first. And that kind of also gave me confidence that I belonged there. But how about someone who has never been shown those possibilities?
That's actually what I wanted to know.
How about someone, all they've ever seen is a drunk uncle? How about someone whom the environment is only showing them the limitations, but there is nobody to show them that but there are more possibilities out there, and it's about you believing in yourself and believing you can be more than that. Because that's what everyone else from a young age gave me. My teachers believing in me, encouraging me, giving me harder problems than my peers because they could realize I had potential. That also kind of gave me confidence that, I can be better. I can be more than what I am right now. So I never kind of stagnated and thought I was a baked product. But if you are failing and all that people tell you is that you are a failure, you are useless and all that, I think I would have turned up like anyone else statistically if I wasn't like a high achiever from a young age.
Yeah.
Because best believe I got so much exposure to what was possible out there through friends, brothers, cousins, uncles, parents see my grades and thinking, oh, I want to show you this. So from a young age, I had people just opening opportunities up because they believed I could be more than I was. And that's something that I believe every child needs. And without that, as a child, you're only limited to
what's there.
Limitations or conditions that of the people around you, what people validate as possible and what they tell you is impossible as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well put, sir. Now I want to jump into spectrum analytics.
Yes, sir.
What it is that you do today.
Yes, sir.
So please run us through what spectrum analytics is and how you serve.
Yes, sir. So we are at a time where, people talk about things like digital transformation. They talk about your machine learnings, your artificial intelligence, and all that, is it? So we are in a digital era, meaning technology is now more than ever influencing how we live, how we work, and how we interact with each other. And this technology is disrupting these facets of our lives at a rate that is really astonishing. It's fast. So being a problem solver, I used to look at organizations. If I was to tell you a story of where the dream began, maybe.
Beautiful.
So I used to work, I worked in the corporate world. I'm not going to say anything about my past employer, but I worked for Mascom Wireless as an engineer. So when I was an engineer within a company, I was limited in terms of the problems that I wanted to solve. It was always about the problems that have been given business value. So if someone hasn't recognized something quite valuable as a problem, you can't touch it. So that limitation and my natural
must have been frustrating.
Kind of frustrating. And by then, I was really bugged by the statement that system me down. And someone would just dismiss you by just saying, system me down.
It bugs me too. It really does.
But having studied in UK and having lived in UK for 4 years, I've observed and seen that people could come together and do great things together. And I came back home after graduation and realized, wait a minute. There doesn't even seem like there is anything that we have declared that we want to do together. And I was like, but why is it that technology is really failing us in our ecosystem? And I think that question, I must have asked it so deeply that I started realizing, it's maybe because this company does not care about this. It's also because of the culture of people within this organization. They don't have self-belief that they can solve these problems. It's also because of the processes, how people are working within these organizations that makes certain results inevitable. So they are just kind of repeating the same thing over and over. So then I thought of myself, how do I convince people that the way I'm seeing things is the right way to see things? And I think that's what led me to the value of data. In building ground truths and then being able to paint a picture of what is actually going on to allow us to engage in a format,
using the real life data.
Using objectively, where it's not about Tebogo's opinion and your opinion as Mpho. So then I looked into industries and saw, no, wait, nobody was really doing that back in 2013, 14. So as an engineer, I started first asking the question, how do I optimize resources that we have for our maximal benefit within organizations, within our communities, within our companies as well? So that kind of led to a journey where I discovered data science, I discovered mathematical optimization, I discovered many things. But towards the end, it all kind of then caught up with the world. The world started talking about data. And remember, I had thought, yeah, that's something that I can use to break ties when people see things differently.
That time.
So it's a dream that comes from as far back as 2012, 13. But, because the question maybe was asked that deeply, it has still sustained. I've grown on to learn about it and all that.
Beautiful.
So now with organizations now generating more data than ever before, and data being deemed the new oil, I kind of don't like buzzing kind of words and all that. But all it means is that companies that are doing so well now in the digital economy are really able to get those high levels of performance because of the ability to extract value from that data. 100%. Even if you were to think about what machine learning is using your data to learn how to do things better and then automating a bit of that so that you don't have to make repeated decisions. A computer can learn faster than you. It can crunch large amounts of data faster than any human can. So Spectrum Analytics then crystallized as an organization that closes the gap between data and value within enterprises. And at the moment, when we tried this, we used to tell people, oh yeah, we want to do your data analytics. But then early enough, you realize, oh no, people don't have reliable data to make the solutions we wanted to build add value for them. So we're like, yeah, but then you can't have this valuable asset that you call data that you are not managing. And that's where the company has really pivoted on to close the gap between data and value and organizations through data management so that companies can focus on innovation. It's like building a house. We'll provide the foundation and then you can add the layers that you want to drive for your apps, for your analytic workloads, for your business intelligence workloads, and even for your automation workloads. Those are the things companies want to do, but they're currently unable to do that because they're not managing data as a business asset. And for us, that's what we do. We help them first gain that appreciation of that data, discover it, unify it, protect it, and then leverage it to create business outcomes that they want. So in essence, if I was to appeal to buzzwords, we take a data, we offer organizations and enable them with solutions that give them confidence to digitally transform because they're doing so from a data-driven point of view. And they have all the data in the world.
Well put. We're going to pause here for a break and we'll be back with Mr. Tebogo Mogaleemang. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Show, everybody. If you have found any value in this episode so far, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below on your biggest takeaway. So, Mr. Mogaleemang, you are an engineer by training.
Yes.
Talk to me about how, I don't know, maybe let me put it this way. Talk to me about how complex it is, because right now you're running an organization, so to speak, but you're an engineer. Right. So a lot of the times, an engineer per se, I mean a business, someone would say maybe this is a technician, not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But how were you able to build off of, being skilled as an engineer and also be able to be able to wear this hat of being an organization lead?
I've found that's an interesting question that and at some point I also thought, oh yeah, how did I map into this? Because now I'm kind of doing less engineering than anything else.
Yes.
But I think it stems from how an engineer naturally first thinks about a problem. When you're an engineer, you get a problem. First, you have limited resources. from time, money, and sometimes talent. So you kind of need to use what you already have as an engineer to find the best solution. And I think that's something that really people take for granted with engineering, because isn't that what a manager should do? You have a team, there are resources, you need to get the best returns on investment from that team and not be biased. But more often than not, most of us are biased. So when it comes to engineering, one of the things that I inherited is that in engineering, if we need to compare two things, we find an impartial benchmark. So we look for a benchmark that can allow us to compare two computers, a Dell computer, an HP computer, and just compare stuff that is comparable without being biased. So I think that kind of conditioned me in a lot of ways to think as I think. And I think it's this thinking that allows me also to become, if I'm good or better, a manager that I am, where I realize if I'm leading people, it's about the outcomes that we create together. Something that if you are building, I'm an electronics engineer. So when you look at your phone is made of small components fitted together. So if you consider your phone to be a system, it has subsystems, and it works better because of the relationships of those subsystems. I think that has naturally led me to something called systems thinking, where if you want to solve any complex problem, you break it down into constituent parts, and then you also study the relationships of the two parts. Because if you don't do that, you are bound to find a biased solution, a solution that is just from the point of view where you are looking. So it's the same within organizations, isn't it? That within a team, the outcomes within a team are from the dynamics between the team members. If you look at an organization, the outcomes at an organization level are from the dynamics of the different teams and people within the organization. So I find that the organizations and how society lives, really thriving organizations have similar kind of ideas to how we build value-adding engineering solutions, in that you kind of take the same approach all the time. That you take time to understand stuff, do the design before you actually do the actual thing, which kind of led me to now have a natural kind of appreciation for design thinking. And I think for me, it's systems thinking and design thinking that kind of make me see the relationship between things, and then also kind of admit that I don't always have the answers. And that if I'm to get the best from the team, I can't be the one who's coming up with solutions all the time. I also can't be the one with the best answer all the time.
I actually want to dive into that, that you're talking about the team.
Yeah.
How do you develop that? I don't know, that openness of the team coming to you? Because I think some of the things that maybe would bring good or would be good organizations down is maybe that lack of free flow of information, especially with maybe a subordinate coming to the boss with a problem. Boss, here's a problem. How are you able to allow or create that environment of free flow of information and be able to cultivate that brainstorm mentality in terms of coming up with ideas, coming up with solutions to problems?
It's about culture. It's about culture. And culture is something that you won't find in a balance sheet. But if you were to look at what makes any two organizations different, even if they're in the same kind of space, competing in the same space, it's the culture. And organizations, if people are unable to learn together, they can't get the best out of each other. Definitely. That's one of the things that you can tell from anywhere, really. If people are unable to learn together, then they can't create the results they want together. But the thing with culture is people need to have a shared vision. What do we want to do together? So for me, from the onset, I've been really mission driven or purpose driven. So I decided not to become any other entrepreneur, but to become a purpose driven entrepreneur. I have a larger thing that I want to achieve. So for me, entrepreneurship is not just the means to an end. It's something beyond that as well. So if you want to create those dynamics, you need to make sure everyone within the organization is aware of why the organization exists.
This comes from the top to the bottom.
Yeah. And you also kind of kill that idea of top and bottom a bit, because that idea in our ecosystem kind of means it's someone's responsibility to tell us what to do. I had this challenge with my team early on with some of them when I refused to tell them what to do. It's your responsibility to think about the problem, ask the right questions so that you learn. Because if you learn, we grow as a team. So it's shared vision, and then you also have to be value-driven. We were quite adamant from the word go that we are going to become a learning organization. And a learning organization is an organization within which people are continuously getting better at what they do to achieve their shared dreams.
I want to ask this question. How do you talk about value, you talk about growth, and most definitely, I would say you're someone that embodies a growth mindset. You say you have somebody that's working in your company, and you realize off the bat, the person comes with perfect skills, they're very well, that are very good in what they do, but they don't have a fixed, they have a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset. How would you go on to help that person develop a growth mindset? And how would you just deal with that problem?
Because we address that through how we normally work. I mean, most of our sessions as a team are design sessions. So either we are generating as many ideas as possible so that people realize that we don't always know what we are doing. So
and it's okay to make mistakes.
People need to know that you don't need to start with the first thing being perfect. From then on, you kind of, after we generate all those ideas, think of what would be the best thing to build. So then we combine all our ideas, these different ideas, and try to create something that is the best thing to build. And then we continuously test our assumptions. Okay, we tried this, it didn't work. So what do we need to try again? So it's about experimentation. So if you have a team member like that, remind them of your culture. So for us, it's learning. Within our organization, it's authenticity, it's shared value, it's learning, it's trust, and it's impact. So if we are not authentic with each other around how we are contributing towards the outcomes we don't want, then it's my job to show everyone that we are getting this result from this action and this action that we are doing as a team. So if it's a team member, show people how they're doing things contributes towards the undesired outcomes. And then create a safe space for them to share their challenges, and please don't give them pressure. Don't give them pressure to think that they're solely responsible for solving these problems. They should know that they could leverage the collective intelligence of the team to help them solve that problem. But if it's solely their responsibility, then that's when people crumble. And rewarding people like that also reinforces the mindset that would come. I'm the best thing after sliced bread. So I'm the only one who can find the best solution. That comes from how we are rewarded at school. Where it's always about marks. You get the highest mark, you get the star. So then within organizations, you get the highest reward. It's all still hierarchical. It's the guy at the top. So for me, like, one of the things we did was break hierarchies so that people learn within teams. And then we share the knowledge that we have from our teams at a larger level, and we continuously evaluate ourselves. Are we doing what we should be doing to get to the next level? If we get results we don't want, what actions of ours are leading to these results that we don't want? And it's because we want to learn from our experiences. And
Beautiful.
a fixed mindset means a mindset that is closed to learning.
And yours is you have to continue learning.
Yeah.
So I wanted to jump into this quick segment.
Yeah.
It's called Rapid Fire. I'm just going to be asking you a few questions. They may not necessarily be related to business.
Yeah.
But it's just a rapid fire.
Yeah.
I just want to see just to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think the audience would appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Should we fire away?
Yeah. Let's start.
Okay, here we go. I think the first question would be, what is the app that you can't live with on your phone? That you can't live without on your phone?
On my phone, I would say at the moment it's been WhatsApp. It's because it links me to my team. So for a social app, it serves its purpose for me because we communicate freely through WhatsApp. And at the moment, without it, like right now, I feel vulnerable.
Okay. All right. Okay, but the second question would be, I'm actually coming up with these questions right now.
Yeah.
If you were to die today, what would be your last meal on planet Earth?
Oh man, I don't think I want to eat.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like for me that comes from the prison setup. What's your last meal? So I've always thought about it and thought I wouldn't know what I want to eat, and maybe it's because of how my mind thinks.
Yeah.
Because I know there's so much that I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing that I know can quench that natural kind of desire, insatiable appetite for learning.
Hey.
So I'm always pleased by discovering new things instead of repeating things that.
What is your favorite?
Favorite?
Yeah, right now, your favorite meal.
My favorite meal. Oh man.
I like the kobe.
For me, like it would be something Botswana cuisine.
Yeah.
I love simple organic food. So bogobe jwale rotse, morogo nyana, seswa.
Yeah.
That's my kind of vibe. So that's what I normally even buy during lunch. I don't buy things I can cook.
Okay. The other question is, you're an engineer by trade. Yeah. So if you were to be given just these two paths, you either become a dancer or an artist, as in like a singer or a rapper. Yeah. Which one would you take?
Oh, say that again. Dancer or?
A dancer?
Yeah.
Or an artist?
Where's the difference?
Which one would you take? Or you'd go for both?
First, I think being an engineer, kind of naturally, I just find myself out of beat with everyone most of the times. That's
why I'm asking the question. That's exactly why I'm asking the question.
So dancing is out. So, but as an engineer, I can claim to be an artist and show people I'm an artist because problem solving is an art. The way you tackle problem, whether you are an artist, like you are a performer, like from an arts point of view, or you are a mathematician proving a theory. Once any human being is in a state of flow in any field, whether it's someone playing football, driving a car, solving a physics problem, it's all art.
It's all art. All right. My other question would be, actually, I just forgot the question. I actually forgot the question. But I think we're going to jump into this. This is actually my last question before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
I had a very, very good question, but we'll ask it maybe on the Patreon. We'll ask you on the Patreon. How do you want to be remembered? as Tebogo Mogaleemang?
Wow. So, having been praised a lot around what I'm able to do, I have also seen that it also corrupted other people because they thought they couldn't be what I was. But I think with practice, anyone can improve. So if I'm to be remembered for anything, I think it would be a confluence of two things. First, I love to give people the sense of self-belief that they cannot be limited by that conditioning. And if you want to growth beyond your physical bodies growing is a conscious effort. You need to want to grow. So that's one thing I really am working towards, helping everyone have an intuitive kind of appreciation of, not from like a philosophic or an academic point of view, you know, like from just remembering that as a kid you had to fall a couple of times and then after some time you are good at it. And that's how life works at any age. Then the second thing maybe there as well is if I could, and this one is what really gives me pleasure even as a living being, is seeing those people that I've helped come back to me and tell them and remind me sometimes of how far back I've influenced them and how they took stuff that I share and then tried it. But unfortunately, I don't want people to think these things are about me. I really wish people could learn to pick on the truth of what is shared without limiting the truth to the source of the truth. So if I could also do something, I don't want people to
be so caught up that it was you.
Into a cult hero. Because whatever truth I ever represented in this life would be limited by people's personal beliefs around some of our negative experiences.
Well put, sir. Well put. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tebogo Mogaleemang of Spectrum Analytics. I guess you have just heard, we've just dove in, we've just picked a bit of his brain because there's so much that we have really garnered from him and have learned from him. And I hope you guys have found some value from this episode. And if you have, be sure to like, comment below on your biggest takeaway. We'll always read your comments and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet next time, same place. Be great.